Could move a little closer.
Yeah, you can. All right. Wow. What a journey.
Oh, let me turn.
Fans here for all my fans. Um,
It's raining.
it's raining outside. I'm going to introduce to the Philippines project. She's made a few little cameos, just little ones, mostly from behind. It's my wife, Flora,
Hi,
of
guys.
almost 20 years. And so she's got seniority in this house. And she's going to be helping with the answering the questions about the OFWs. That's what the topic is today. And yeah, I see Kevin. Kevin said nothing coming over yet. Yeah, Kevin, you and I have talked a little bit about little difficult things. It seems so easy once you know how to do it. And that used to be one of my phrases, hey, you know how to do that? It's real easy. It's not hard. It's easy if you know how to do it. I couldn't go live, so it took me a couple minutes to get going. So I appreciate your patience. Got 9 people in the chat right now. Um, so anyway, yeah, tech problems, good and bad. That's for sure. Working now. Good.
Well, that's good.
Up and running. Thank you for that, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, we I was going back and forth between YouTube Studio, YouTube the channel, and I hear the picture and everything, and I thought it was going to count down, and then it would just go live. So that didn't happen. So what you think sometimes is not going to happen. So this live chat is actually where's the guy's his name?
Boat.
It's one of the guys that's
6868.
yeah, Boat. Okay, yeah.
6868.
Okay, his YouTube handle is Boat6868. He really asked a lot of good questions, and I think it was his idea to try to do the live stream on or do a video on OFWs. And if you don't know what an OFW is, it stands for Overseas Filipino Workers, which my wife Flora was a overseas Filipino worker for 9 years, so she got a little bit of experience in that. So I'm gonna pull my phone up here and look at some questions when I can I can get in here and find them.
Do you think we have to read the whole thing? It's
No,
a little
no,
bit
no,
lengthy.
it's okay.
It's lengthy
It's
question,
okay.
but
I will. I'll get in here in a second and figure it out. All right, community.
if you guys have more questions, we could answer.
Okay. Have you guys actually seen the first live stream? Were you able to view it on YouTube? That's a question because one guy said that he couldn't see it. I did go down and look in my video stream on my YouTube channel, and I could see it in there, but he may have thought it was just another video. Um, so I'm gonna, having said that, I'm gonna start asking questions if Flora ever come back. All right.
I just opened the door. It's hot. We turn off all the fans. It's humid.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, the cat's coming in.
Yeah. It's all right.
Hey, Montreal, Canada. Glad you're here. WLB comments. Uh, Glad you're here. Everybody that's on the stream, looks like we're up to 16. All right, the first question goes to Flora. It said, what are the top 5 countries that overseas Filipino workers go to? And she's got that answer. What do you say is the biggest one?
I think Saudi Arabia.
Oh, you think there's more?
Yeah. I
Because
think
mostly it's men
Middle
and
East. Middle East.
Middle East.
Yeah.
Okay. Middle East in general, but Saudi Arabia. I know my mother-in-law went to Saudi Arabia for a while.
Mhm.
And so have you, like, for your, without being too,
Yeah.
they're all tough jobs. They're all tough.
Well, we have to put the disclaimer, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's our disclaimer?
That this is just according to my experience and what I heard, and of course, everybody's different. Everybody's have different
I'm
experiences.
certainly different. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying all the OFW have different experiences, on their bosses and,
Hey,
you
Mark
know,
Cooper. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, it's true. Everybody's got a different story. So anyway, Saudi Arabia, what have you heard?
like they don't really treat their maids. I don't know.
Now, again, understand she's hearing this from the people that work there, and actually, her dad worked in Saudi Arabia in construction for how many years?
Uh, 5 years, I think.
He was an
Yeah.
electrician, and basically, when you're an overseas Filipino worker, you just go and you don't come back for how long?
The contract is usually 2 years.
Okay,
And then you have to finish the contract. So your employer will pay for your plane tickets to go back for a 1 month vacation. And some are kind of generous. They will give you 1 month salary while you are, on vacation.
yeah.
But some are not that generous.
Now, see how good she is at this already? And she was all nervous about being on the live stream. So, anyway, she's
Oh,
doing a great
he's
job.
on boat 60
There he
68.
is.
Hi, boat 6868. Thank you for the questions.
Yeah, that's some. I mean, this guy, he's very articulate and really mapped out some. In fact, I told him in the comment after he put the question down. And sorry if you hear the cat, but she's relentless, man. She got to be a part of everything. But yeah, uh, boat 6868 has some great questions, and we answered one of them. Where's the top five? Did we say five?
Yeah, the first one,
UAE. We'll just
UAE.
list some of them. UAE, Saudi Arabia, basically.
Hmm.
Uh, Kuwait. They go to Kuwait.
Well, Kuwait, Riyadh, Jeddah,
Yeah,
all
those
the
are
Middle
cities.
East,
Yeah,
yeah,
Hong Kong, Singapore, Israel,
and Canada.
Canada. There's a lot of overseas Filipino workers, and there's a lot in the United States. Now that's a different level. You have to have a certain level of education. Flora's dealing with the cat right now. Trying curiosity killed the cat, they say, but I think a live stream's going to get one of them if he
Sorry
doesn't
about that.
straighten up. So, so anyway, yeah, there's several countries, but which is not so much anymore. Maybe a physical therapist. You get training to be a physical therapist. Then you can get a contract to go to the U.S. You can get a contract to go to Canada and several other places. So, and you said the terms are usually 2 years.
Right.
Okay.
Usually.
All right. What are the top five countries? Do they have a choice of the length of their assignment, or are all assignments about the same length?
Mostly a 2 years contract. So you have to finish it, or if you break the contract, it's either if your employer is good enough, well, according to my experience, right? If your employer is good enough, they will give you a release paper where they will let you go and you go to your agency, and then the agency will help you to find a new employer.
Yeah.
Or if they're not, then you have to go back home.
Yeah, but a lot of times, and especially in her case, she would either renew with the employer that she was with, or which happened. Didn't that happen with the Canadian couple? Did you renew with them, or you were just with them for 2 years?
4 years.
4 years,
Yeah.
but you renewed in the middle.
Hmm.
Okay, so it was a good position. She liked it. She didn't really want to go anywhere else. Eventually, they moved back to the states, so she had they were Canadian, but they ended up with a house in Connecticut. So yeah, that's kind of how that went. But basically, 2 years. Now, do you apply for specific assignments, or do they put your name in with an agency and you get new, just as they get new contracts to fill?
Well, sometimes they ask you you know, what position you're applying for. So usually is housemaid, babysitter. Those are basically the two. But then if you're a nurse, of course, there were some nurses that also applied as a housemaid, but
Yeah, because what's really common here in the Philippines, they'll get a degree in something and still can't find a job.
mhm.
So being a maid in Singapore is better than being in poverty here in the Philippines. So they'll go opt to go to Singapore or Hong Kong to fulfill a maid position, a domestic helper, whatever you want to call it, and then they're still making money.
I
So that
will add something to that. And sometimes some they uses that as their stepping stone. Say they will go to Hong Kong or Singapore, and they had the degree in nursing degree, and then they will apply in Canada later on because they already had the experience in going overseas, working abroad. So it'll be an additional thing to their resume.
yeah, just in addition to their
Yeah,
yeah.
credential, I guess,
Yeah,
or
it's like,
whatever.
it's hard to get a job if you never had a job. So at least they had a job.
Yeah.
So is it hard to get an OFW assignment?
No, not really.
So what, okay, I'm going to just go through the questions. Um, so what do you have to do to be an OFW? Let's say you want to be a domestic helper in Singapore. What's the process?
Well, sometimes there's not much. If you are a high school graduate, you could be qualified. And if you, of course, have college, some college, you'll be qualified. But basically, it depends sometimes if you are referred to, let's say, my employer, let's say I work there. My employer was looking, her friend is looking for a maid. Then I will refer my friend. So it'll be like a direct employment, I guess. You don't have to go through the agency. All they have to do is process it at the Ministry of Manpower. I don't know what you call it now.
Ministry of Manpower or something?
Yeah,
I
something
mean, we
like
don't
that.
know. We don't know
Yeah.
exactly, but
But anyways, and then she will be a direct hire. She doesn't have to pay the agency fee and all that. Which is nice. Nice to do. Nice.
over the passport and the cell phone to the people that she was working for. And
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes, well, I didn't experience it, but there were some people or some maid, even in Singapore, that they don't have a day off. Basically, you're working on the clock, you
That's a
know.
question down here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we'll come up with that. All right. What happens if something personal comes up and they're not able to stay for the agreed upon length of time for
Well,
the
you could break
assignment?
the contract.
So how do you do that?
Well, sometimes you have to ask your employer if, I'm not happy working for you, could you just give me a release paper so I could find another employer? But if they don't agree, then they will send you.
Because Singapore is not going to, you kick a maid out of your house, it's still your responsibility. You've got to give them a plane ticket and the option to go home. And you know, a domestic helper or a construction worker that's not a Singaporean citizen, you just can't walk out into the street and go looking for jobs. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
They I always say about Singapore, they have strict laws and they enforce their laws. That's just the way it is. Now I'm sure it's the same way in Hong Kong. All right. Does the pay vary from employer to employer, or is it pretty close within the same country?
It varies. Like I
Okay,
wrote I wrote it down.
so it's been what, almost 20 years, 20
It's
years.
it's been, yeah, 20 years.
So what was your top salary?
My top salary back then was 400 Singapore dollar, which is, I wrote it down here, which is equivalent to $302.96
US.
US dollar.
Yeah.
And on peso, it is 15,148 peso.
And I'm sure it's more now. I don't know.
Well, this is the current value,
What is?
37.87, which is the exchange rate. But back then, I think it was only $32 per
Okay,
peso.
so what I'm saying is how much do they make now?
Probably more now.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
been a long time, but I'll say this, it's just went up with inflation and they're not getting rich. But can you imagine back in the year 2000, you're working, and that kind of goes to the next question. You're working sometimes 7 days a week, sometimes 12 hours a day, depending on your employer and how they want to work you. So It said, do they have regular days off?
Sunday.
Sunday's supposed to be your days off. Did you ever work for an employer that didn't give you a day off?
Um, well, my first employer were Chinese, and I have to pay the agency 6 months. I didn't receive any salary for six
Oh my
months,
gosh.
and I
That,
didn't have the day off for 6 months. So after 6 months, I have one day off, one Sunday, on one Sunday of every month.
yeah, after 6 months.
After 6 months,
So,
and then my salary back then, I think it's so low, 200.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did they ask you to give over your passport or anything like that?
Yes.
They give it to the employer
Employer.
and a cell
Well,
phone. Well, you didn't have a cell phone, did you?
I don't have any cell phone.
Yeah. Is her opinion which country is best to be an OFW?
In my opinion, I guess Canada.
Country is best to be an OFW.
In my opinion, I guess Canada. Well, it's free country, you know?
Yeah, but you couldn't go there.
Yeah, but there were some
I
people
mean,
who could go
to
there.
ask, just straight answer the
Yeah.
question, yes. But for most Filipinas or Filipinos, they can't go to Canada unless they have a high degree of education. They've got to finish college, have some sort of medical type degree or something like that, physical therapy, something like that.
Yeah, and also the money.
It's a lot better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's expensive to go.
Oh, really? They have a bigger surcharge
Yeah,
with the agency?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Well, that's why some people what they do is they work in Singapore or Hong Kong first, and then when they save the money, then they could apply for a better country, and like Canada.
Okay. See, I'm learning some stuff. We've been together almost 20 years.
Yeah, we never really talked
And
about it.
she probably told me about that working for 6 months with no days off and no salary. So what do you live on?
Nothing. I
You live on the food that they give
yeah,
you.
that they give you.
Did they feed you okay?
It's okay.
No. Tell me. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
normal everyday food. Okay.
yeah.
All right, Mark, here in Texas, majority of OFWs are nurses. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think the nurses I think the U.S. stopped taking nurses, didn't they?
Yeah.
And the only thing that I've seen the past several years which he's right. I mean, that's always been a staple. And there's so many nurses out there because of the Philippines. Uh, but mostly it's physical therapists right now. And doctors, if you're a doctor, we knew some doctors that were Filipino.
But I think majority are housemate though.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
far as your rank and file OFW, they're construction workers
Mm-hmm.
or they're domestic helpers
Domestic helpers.
by
Yeah.
far.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I understand, what I've read, 10% of the Filipino people um, says my connection's unstable. Are we still live?
Yeah. Can you still hear us, guys?
It
It's raining
Yeah.
outside. Hold on a minute.
Anyway, they say that up to 10% of Filipinos become overseas Filipino workers. So, yeah, cruise ships. Cruise ships. Yeah, we're still live. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay.
It just shows your connection unstable. Please wait while we try. So, if that happens, or if we get an ad on this, just kind of, bear with us. I don't know if they're going to play an ad or not. Okay. The employers do pay for the airfare. How often are you're able to return home every 2 years?
Right.
Okay. Does your employer
Well,
pay?
it's your choice too. Sometimes after the contract of 2 years, say you decided you don't want to go home, then you could take that money for your airfare, so you could save that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, oh, you get to keep the airfare money.
Yeah.
They have to pay you the airfare money.
Yeah.
So, that's a pretty good wad of cash for somebody that's making $300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. How much claim on your time do they have? Well, her last employer, her main last employer, was really, really good.
They're really good.
Yeah, they actually sent her to some classes in the evening. It was
Mm-hmm.
just a couple that were close to retirement age, and he was a pretty big deal with TD Waterhouse out of Canada, and so it was just them. They had a cat and a dog. She had to walk the dog every day, and the cat just hung out. I don't know what she did with the cat. She said the other day she had to give the cat shots every once in a
Yeah,
while, but
they're older animals.
they're like
That's their
they're
babies.
yeah, they're babies. They had kids back in
Yeah.
the States, but yeah. So that's about all the questions on that. Oh, before the internet, how did they keep in touch with their families in the Philippines?
Well, phone call,
Phone
right?
call, get
Yeah.
a phone card.
Collect calls, basically.
Yeah, which is very few, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The best I can remember of her telling me about it is just every once in a while,
Yeah.
maybe on a birthday or something like that, you might call,
Mm-hmm.
just some special occasion. That was it.
Emergency,
Yeah, emergency or
which is,
you. She probably got more calls than they got, right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of emergencies in the Philippines. Um, are all assignments gotten through agencies, or are there ways to be directly hired through an employer? And you said there is ways to get direct hire, right?
Right.
How do you go about doing that?
Well, as I said earlier, is the if my employer, say my employer's friend,
Ah, okay,
yeah, is
like
looking for,
a referral.
yeah.
Well, right before she came to America, there was a few months that her main employer moved back to the United States. So she stayed with them and worked for them for what, 3 months?
Yeah.
3 months?
No,
Was it that long?
you mean Becky?
Yeah,
8 months. While
8 months.
I'm waiting for my
Yeah, 8 months.
visa.
Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
it was a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to get too far ahead of our chat here. Okay, W WLB. My Filipina domestic helper had Sunday off, and she would find work with my other condo neighbors, cleaning, laundry. Yep, very
Yep.
common.
Very common. I did that too.
Yeah, she did a great job for her employer. So she would actually go and like set up a nice dinner for the friends of her employers, and she'd do all the like a catering kind of service. They'd give her money. She'd go to the grocery store,
Hmm.
bring back everything, plan the whole meal herself, and so she kind of really enjoyed that. You're right about that. Okay, vote 6868. Wow, had to pay the entire salary to the agency for the first 6 months. Was that the case for with every 2 year assignment? Well, go ahead and answer that question. Like after your first 2 years, you paid your dues at the agency. Did you have any further obligation?
Well, that we I did that because I didn't pay any placement fee. Usually when people, well, like me, I was, we were poor. We didn't have money back then. Um and I didn't have any money to pay the agency for placement fee, so that's why it's a salary deduction. They call it salary deduction. They will take that amount to your salary until you paid it off.
So is the placement fee and the charge that the agency charges different, or is
The
it the?
same. It's the
Oh,
same.
it's the same
Hmm.
either way. But
Yeah.
once you get there to Singapore or Hong Kong or wherever you're at, you can get your next employer and you don't have to go through that.
No, not
Okay.
anymore. Yeah.
All right. I think that answers the question there.
Well, I
Okay.
guess some agencies they charge too. It depends on the
Yeah.
agency.
Uh, WLB said cruise ships are good.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, those are too.
they call them they call them seamen here, don't they?
No, those cruise ship. Remember when we
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
to Bahamas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they live on the sea, but yeah, they're really good on those boats, and it's a pretty good living, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good money. Yeah.
And I
Okay.
think they their contract is every 6 months, so
Okay.
they could go
They have
home
a
after.
6 month,
Hmm.
yeah, and
I think.
they can earn enough in 6 months that they can go home for 6 months, have a pretty good life, and see the family and everything. Sounds good, but who wants to be away from their family for 6 months, right?
Well, the only disadvantage of that is they have to start all over again. I guess they have to pay all the fees again
Oh wow.
when they come back. I think that's what. I kind of heard.
Okay.
So
Okay. WLB said we gave our domestic helper Wi-Fi and a local SIM, so she had a phone. That's good.
that's
So
good.
they can also stay in touch with the family. That's great. That's really great. That's pretty generous. Uh, Gemma asked, do we have kids? We do not have
We don't
children
have.
ourselves. I have three daughters that are grown. I've got three grandkids. Got to count them up, you know. But
Good kids. Yeah.
yeah. So without divulging too much, I had an operation that prevented me from having any more kids. So that was before I ever met Flora. So and that's been a tough thing for her, tough thing for me. But yeah, that's answers that question. Okay,
It's okay though. It's been 20 years.
it's been 20 years. All right. Chi says, is it how you spell it? Say that name.
Where?
Chie.
Oh, Chi.
Yeah. Hi
Taurus.
everyone.
Hi, Chi.
Hello. Okay. Yeah, that placement fee. I guess it could go either way. If you're on a boat, you might have to pay it, but just depends. Hey, there's Alice Vlogs in Wonderland. All right.
That WB have a WLB.
Okay. Missed my first question. Do you have to pay taxes on your money? I'm gonna guess no.
No, I don't. I don't know. I don't think so.
Uh, Probably it's a situation where if there is that maybe that you don't have to pay any in the Philippines.
Well, I think it's those OWA, those kind of stuff because we
What's
pay
that?
those OWWA. It's like an overseas workers something. Well, it's been a while, guys, so I don't really know. It, we pay a lot of stuff too, though. So I guess that's the one
There
that you
are
was
some
referring.
deductions out of your salary.
No, it's or maybe the employer pay that. I
I
don't
bet
really
the employer
remember.
pays it, but
Yeah, I don't
it's
really
whatever.
remember.
Yeah, the employer has a pretty good financial responsibility too. So yeah. Um, I just wanted to mention something real quick. One guy, a couple people have asked, how do you support the channel? We actually did get monetized. Uh, Once you get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time, which you guys greatly contributed to that. I don't even know what we're up to now on watch time, but I don't guess it really matters to you guys. But
And thank you guys for supporting the
yeah,
channel.
we got over 13, almost 14,000 watch hours, and over 2,500 subscribers. So that's since our last live. That's really come in, and I got monetized. So AdSense, those little ads you see, they throw us a few pennies from that every now and then on the channel. We're definitely not getting rich on that stuff, but that's one way that
we
we.
I guess we do this is just just something to have something to do here in the Philippines,
Yeah, I feel like I get to go to work every day. Not every
right?
day. We've actually been sick for about 3 days. So if you haven't seen a video from me for a few days, that's why. I did post one today. Just wanted to get one out real quick. Um, but yeah, that's one way that we get supported. The only thing I would like to do, it's a little more work than I thought it was going to be. It's a big learning curve. Uh, do I spend any hours at this or not?
You do.
What would you say I spend every day?
At least 5 hours.
Yeah, I'd say at least
Yeah.
five, sometimes more. And then that doesn't count answering comments. There's a lot of comments, and I think I've answered almost every comment. I think I have.
Hi, Lipo City. Hi, Kasimanwa.
Hey, that LIFO City Vlogs. He's the one living in Taiwan.
Oh yeah.
His wife's a teacher, and I don't know if he's a teacher. Yeah, Frank said set up a Patreon. Yeah. One other thing you can do, if you look at the bottom of the chat, and I don't know, it seems a little funky to me, but if you look down to the bottom of the chat, there's a little dollar sign, and I set this up just in case somebody wanted to do it. If you click on that, you can actually send a little bit of
Send us a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually shows in pesos, and I'm not asking people to
No,
do
we're
that.
not.
The only thing I would like to buy some more equipment, and we're not. I'm not poor. We're not poor, but just a hobby. I don't know how much money of my own I really want to pour into it. I really need a good microphone. One of my first subscribers, Kevin, he said, "Man, you need a gimbal," and so that's helped the
And you
like.
bought that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I bought that. It's like $187, and then a microphone. Really, for a good wireless microphone, it's about $230 at least. And so I want to get one of those. And again, I'm gonna buy I'm gonna buy one regardless of what you guys do. But if you do get value from the channel, I support some people on YouTube, and some of it I just do like $3 or $5 a month, but through like a Patreon or something like that. But that super chat, if you click on the dollar sign, you can actually donate, and it comes to you. Um, yeah. So
And
yeah.
also ask them if what they wanted to see on your channel. Basically, it's your channel.
Well, I'd like it
I'm just a
not.
guest.
I, I'd like it not to be just my channel, because she doesn't even realize how many of you have said, "Hey, I want to meet your wife. I want to see your wife," and she's really good. So, anyway, um,
Well, you
okay,
have some
WLB.
cooking. It's really getting hot in
Yeah,
here.
it's getting warm in here. But
Mhm.
anyway, any more questions? Let's look through here. Set up a Patreon. I am going to set up a Patreon. I went in and looked at that. Um, it's Vote 68. I understand Filipinos have a basic pension when they work in the Philippines. Does Flora qualify for any pension based on her OFW work?
Oh, I don't know.
I had,
I haven't really. Well, guys, this is actually the first time that we stayed longer in our vacation. Usually, when we go back in the Philippines, we only stay for a few weeks. Basically, three to 5 weeks, the most. And this time, this is our almost third month, right?
yeah, yeah.
So this is the longer we stayed. It's because we are kind of semi-retired, I
Well, we're
guess.
we're
We're
retired. I've got a
retired.
few business interests back at home, some real estate. I want to get leased, and we've got some storage units that we built last year, and I need to get back and check on them. It's not a huge issue, but I've got probably a good, hopefully around $1,500 a month I could get leased, which should help out here. I mean, we're doing fine. It's not an issue, but
Yeah.
we've got the house built, so we don't have any rent here. We did finally get our first utility that we had to pay here, and we run the air conditioner. I run it when I wanted to. Now, most of you know, if you live in the Philippines, air conditioners are mostly in the bedroom, and that's the case here. Now, I've got one sitting right over here by the
A
dining room
portable
table
one.
that
Mhm.
we turn on in the evening sometime, like this time of night, just to take the humidity out of the air. And our bill, it freaked our family out. It was what
9,000,
9,000 pesos, which is
one
right at,
hundred eighty
yeah, it's
dollars
like 180, $187 is what it was.
Well, which is high, really.
It's high, but that's American style. Back at our little 700 square foot apartment back in the United States, we own the property, but we've got an apartment. It's a long story, but anyway, it's not unusual to have an electric bill that high back in the United States. So I don't mind paying it here. It's about the same. But your average Filipino family, that's a lot of money, and
Mm.
that you can't afford that. But that is high. Water bill's cheap. It was like what, $32?
32 dollars the
And
last time. Yeah.
we just said we're not going to spare any expense or try to conserve. I just want to see what the bill is going to be like, wide
Mm.
open. So
And probably we could share that our probably grocery list for a week and the expenses. I think I've seen that on the comments that they
yeah,
want to see that too.
okay. Well, WLB comments. He said he tried the super chat, but it didn't work for him.
Oh,
His
okay.
profile's PH based. Actually, when you punch up the super chat, I was surprised. Uh, it's in Philippine pesos. which is kind of funny to me. I've never been paid in pesos before.
Well, 50 pesos
Yeah, it's a
it's
dollar.
a dollar,
Yeah,
you
which is
know. Yeah,
cool.
this is
You
cool.
know,
Yeah,
but anyway, that's kind of it.
yeah.
Well, listen, if you have any more questions, put them down
I will
there.
address that later.
What's that?
The question if I'm qualified for the.
Yeah, we need to look into
Yeah,
that.
we'll look into that.
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
in
160. Yeah, okay.
160. I'm on budget billing back in the United States. I've got a commercial building in front, which I have leased to a business that I used to own. I sold that business, and the one in the back, the building in the back is where I live. It's a pretty good sized building, um, but we only live in part of it at a time. So it's about 134 a month year round. I pay that year round. But then we have propane, so that doesn't include our entire electric bill or our entire energy bill. So yeah,
I think one good thing about us is we don't have a, what do you call, rental? Uh, like some people,
rental expense
yeah,
here.
rental expenses
Yeah,
because, you know, we own the house.
we've already sunk our rental money in. So I need to do, and I'm planning on doing another video on. I did a house tour video, but I'm going to do a video on. I think I'm going to entitle it "How We Built Our House in the Philippines by Using Facebook Messenger," because literally that's what we did. So we didn't visit one time during a construction, did
Well,
we?
you have a comment too. Remember, there's a guy said, "Oh, you didn't include the price." That's
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a
I don't
lot.
know. It's do we really have to include the price? I mean, you know, for some reason, I kind of feel
Well, I just
funny.
I just kind of put it in the neighborhood, you know. And we built a house 3 years ago, so whatever it was 3 years ago, it's
Right.
not going to be the same as it is now.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
true.
building a house is just like building one back in the United States. It don't matter what your dad paid for his, because that's water under the bridge, you know. Uh, Blog DJ, man, that guy's a big commenter. How you doing, man? He just come in there. He said, "Hello, everyone." There you go, WLB. You got it
Oh,
done.
wow. WLB, thank you so much.
Man, that's too much. He just gave me $500. Oh, that's 500 pesos. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much.
Yeah, and again, we're not on here to
Yeah.
try to just get money, but yeah, it's pesos. So that's 10 bucks, man. That's one thing about Filipino money that I really like here. It's like, you go and say I want $800 to live on for a few weeks, just cash. You got to go get cash because you got to carry cash here. And there's some places that, will take a credit card or a debit card, but not every place will. And you'd be surprised. I had to pay cash at a fast food restaurant in Jollibee
Oh, yeah.
for some reason. I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe this is a worldwide chain. And they're not, I think I was actually in the wrong line. It was like a cash line. I think I found
Yeah.
that out later. But anyway, carry cash here. But man, you go to get your cash from one of these little cash stores like Palawan Pawn Shop or
Right.
wherever. There's a bunch of them. You get your wire transfer, your money, and man, you walk out there with a stack of bills like this, and it's like you feel like a you feel like
It's
you're a
like,
drug kingpin or something. Yeah, yeah. It's
yeah.
not like that. That stack of 500s like that high, and it's like, wow, man, that's a lot of money. But what I like about that, when you go to try to, that's 1,000 pesos, man. I don't know if we should buy that or not. You know, it's 20 bucks.
20 bucks. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but psychologically, it kind of like it just lowers your, or it raises your um, anxiety a little bit. You think you're spending a lot more money. So we buy what we want to, and we had to spend some money to get a television, get furniture for the house, and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. You know, but yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah. Guys, if you can't send money, I see another comment. I'm not asking for money, but sometime down the road you get it figured out. That's fine. I will take the money and put it towards camera equipment. I'm not just go buy me some Red Horse or some San Mig Light with
Yeah. Or
necessarily.
probably we could uh, put it on charity and stuff
Yeah,
too,
I
you know?
mean, who
Yeah.
knows? But once I get a good microphone, I film everything on this iPhone 11 Pro Max because I'm a pro, but
Stop it.
but but yeah, I mean that's what I'm working with. They say, what my theory in business has always been. Uh, my theory in business has always been start where you're at with what you've
With what
got.
you got.
If you will
Yeah.
do that, just start. It's just like starting a YouTube channel. I said the first video I did, I walked upstairs and I just told myself, just push, just push play or just push start.
Hey,
You know,
Frank gave you some money
hey
too.
Frank,
Hi, Frank. Thank you so much.
Frank Machado. That's almost like Machado.
Yeah, Machado.
Is that
It's too
Machado?
much. No, it's Machado.
Yeah. But in Tagalog, that means too much, Machado. But that's with an S.
Yeah,
Okay.
Machado.
Well, cool.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, I've really been I've been thinking about that, and I really need to watch some videos. I agree with you. I don't think the live stream I don't really have any control over, but
Oh, it's
Portuguese,
Portuguese.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Love that Portuguese food, man. It's
Remember that long sandwich that we had on the wedding?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Good food.
But the on the 1080p, I've got to look at some videos to figure out how to change my settings. I think is all I have to do in YouTube. Probably would affect my upload speed, but I don't care. I mean, I'm like you. I've got a 65-inch screen TV here, and I look at some of my videos, and it's like it's pretty pixelated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you 100%, and that's something that we need to get to work on, or
Yeah.
I'll get to work on that. So yeah, but yeah, Portuguese food, man. Her employer, one of her last employers, we're actually friends with them. We went to Connecticut, and one of their daughters was getting married. He's getting married to a Portuguese guy,
Hmm.
and his mom actually is the owner of a Portuguese restaurant in what, New Jersey? In Connecticut?
In Connecticut.
In Connecticut.
Hartford, isn't it?
Is it Hartford?
Yeah.
Yeah. And oh my God,
Really
the
good
food
food.
at that
My
the food at
goodness.
that wedding reception,
Yeah.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget. That's something else.
Nice and Peter vlog. Hi.
Oh, there she is. Filipino nurse retires home.
My deep appreciation to all of them. Yes.
That's one thing. You want to say something?
No.
You were drawing a breath in like you were going to say something.
No.
She was going. She was going to say something.
No.
So anyway, what I was going to say, like the lady that chatted right there, yeah, it's great food. The OFWs are the backbone of the Philippines, and in America, we're proud of our military and all, and we should be. Anybody that goes puts their life out there for the country, we should be proud of them. We always say we thank you for your service, and we should do that. But these Filipino workers, I'm telling you, they're not maybe risking their life, but they put a lot at stake. Their families grow up without them.
Yeah.
Their families grow up
Well,
without them.
even us, when my mom left, I was in high school, and then, well, senior in high school, and then my brother, he was, I don't know, sixth grade, fifth grade or sixth grade. So, and then my mom worked until 10 years, and yeah, never really.
Well, and so what ages were your brothers when you left?
I was 21 and 16, I guess.
They were 16,
Well, the youngest one.
and the oldest one,
Well,
Michael, was
17, 18.
yeah. So they were like teenagers,
Yeah,
and the only one at home was their father, which he died how long after you left?
I don't know, 1999. So 5 years later.
So after 5 years, they were in their early 20s, and
Yeah.
they had nobody there. It was
Yeah.
just her and her mom sending money back home, taking care of the family, and whatever work they could get.
Well, I guess there's also a question. What motivates OFW or Filipinos to go abroad and work as an OFW. Sometimes it is the situation, like us. I'm speaking um, to my experience. It's like we grew up poor, and you want to, to survive, to to better your life. And if you just, I was thinking back then, hey, Philippines is not too bad, as long as you're willing to work hard. But then the income is not enough, so you just barely get by. You just, I don't know. It's so the motivation is that to get a better life, to get a better future.
She used to say, I always wanted to come up in life. And I thought
Yeah,
that's kind of
that's
maybe a little bit of, we wouldn't say that in the US that way, but she wanted to come up in life. She wanted to rise up out of where she was at. One quick question. It says, do Filipinas in the Philippines have a bad view of OFWs that are singers and hostesses?
oh, like in Japan, I guess.
Yeah, Japan, Korea.
Yeah, Korea.
Do they think that
Well, I don't know. I don't really. Well, Joe.
she's never mentioned
Yeah.
it? She's never mentioned it to me. We do have a friend back in the United States. She was a singer.
Well, they both are sisters.
Okay,
Yeah, they're in
yeah.
the band. Yeah.
So I guess they make okay money, don't
Yeah,
they?
they make
Yeah.
okay money.
And she met one of my best friends over there.
Yeah.
He wasn't my best friend until a few years ago, but yeah, he was stationed in Korea, and they
Hmm.
met, and now they're some of our best friends. So we know them. But do you think overall, do they do? You know,
Well, you see, it depends on the situation. I guess
it depends on
sometimes
the person
it
too.
also it's out of desperation. Like if you don't really make that much, I guess I guess some.
Okay, it's like this in the Philippines. If somebody handles your bag in the airport, they may have on a guard uniform, and I've said this in the video, but people are always looking for extra money because I
Yeah,
mean, it's not easy to make. It's not like,
it's
well, you
not.
should just work harder and just get it. You can't do that here. You just can't. I mean, the only way I see people could do it is if they really get a good education, they start a business because
Yeah.
everything else is pretty much locked up. You can get a 4-year degree in college and go work in a shopping mall in the Philippines, and you'll be along with 25, 30 other salespeople just standing there doing nothing, and they don't pay you crap. I mean, I'm not really, it's just the way it
It's
is. I'm
just the
not,
way it
I'm not
is.
making a bad statement about the employers or anything like that, but it's really hard to make money.
Well,
So
also one more thing, it's like they're contractual. Most of these sales people, they only work for 6 months, and then after 6 months, it they have to renew or something, but they never get a
they never get a permanent
permanent
job.
job.
So I mean, that just keeps people. It just keeps people
So I
down.
think the employers will not pay the benefits. I guess that's what
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
I
know
don't
why
know.
employers do
I
it.
don't. I
Maybe if
mean,
they have a bad employee, they just know, well, in 3 months they're gone anyway. I'll never hire them back.
yeah.
It says it seems like OFWs make a tremendous sacrifice. Does it feel like a sacrifice to them? You feel
Yeah,
like you were making a sacrifice?
yeah, I think so.
Especially if you have kids back here.
Right, yeah.
I mean, that's a huge,
There's some, yeah, they leave their kids behind, and then they will raise other people's kids, your boss kids. It's
yeah,
like you left your kid back home and then you raise other kids.
yeah.
It's
My mother-in-law, she's passed away, but there's people in the United States right now that really mourned her death, kids that she helped
yeah,
raise, and man, it's something else. And she didn't get to be around her own kids
right.
and her grandkids. Filipino nurse retires home. One thing I will say to all OFW: try to save wisely for your future. Avoid giving all money to your families,
Families,
and
yeah.
they avoid enabling families left in the PI. You can help some, but not all the way. Exactly. That's one thing. I've got a lot of OFWs on the channel, And that's my advice. I always thank them for subscribing, and I try to go on and look at some of their stuff, and but I always that's the same exact advice I give, because you're gonna, what do you got, 20 years out there working, and if you're lucky, you better save some money for yourself, because you're gonna come back home and you don't want to be poor.
Right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of that. There are some sad stories too, like that they work for so many years and then they go home. They send all their money, right? And then they go home. There's no, like, the house was not renovated. It's, I don't know, it's just sad like that, you
yeah.
know?
Boat 868, he said, "What you say is also my understanding. It's very hard to get ahead while working in the Philippines." Well, my two brothers-in-law, if they work construction, and they're fairly skilled guys, concrete work. They did all the skim coating and everything on this house.
Hmm.
Um, make $10 a day, and then the food is not really that cheap. I mean, unless you just buy really basic food.
Well, sure, they make $10 a day from 8 to 5
Yeah, I mean, it's just $10 a day.
a day. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to read some more comments here real quick. Yep, Nika and Peter vlog. Yep, I understand. I don't understand like you do. You're missing your husband and your son, and yep. All right. Hi, good evening. What's that?
My family moved to Japan 13 years ago, but plan to go back to the PH 2 months. I'm afraid I.
If I can do the province life.
Where in the province? I think it depends,
Yeah, the Philippines is great if you have a little bit of money, because there are a lot of things cheaper. But okay, like a bottle of beer here is about the same as the U.S., and I don't have to have beer all the time, every day, all day long or anything. But one San Miguel Light is 50 pesos, which is $1. And you can buy, uh, what? Sometimes you can get a 6 pack of Miller Lite or something like that for less than $6. But it doesn't matter. A bottle is a bottle here in the Philippines. If they had, you know, 36 pack, you can't, they don't have them. But if they did, they're all going to be 50 pesos, no matter what. There's no volume discount or anything like that. So a lot of things are expensive here. TVs are more expensive here.
Electronics are expensive here
They're more expensive
compared to
here.
the US.
Yeah, we can get really good deals.
Yeah.
All right. This message is held for, okay. Thank you, Tati Sanders, for that comment. Appreciate it. Yeah, I've got a lot of comments on that video, and I don't know if I'm ever going to top that video. That video of how I met my wife in the Philippines, or yeah, that video and the house tour video. The house tour video is over 40,000
Oh, really?
views so far, and the one where I met you is, I don't know, it's right there. It's real close. So, yeah.
Hey, you're getting famous.
Yep. Oh, one thing I wanted to address, the Filipino nurse retires at home. She said, don't help your family too much. And that brought up another point with me. It's like, I've had comments on my channel. It's like, oh, looks like, did your wife talk you into buying a house and supporting our whole family? Wow, you're a fool. I've heard that comment a few too many times. And I'm going to tell you something. Everybody downstairs, all adults, work 6 days a week. Well, except for one. One of my brother-in-law is kind of off from a construction job right now because he's not having any work. But I put him to work here around the house, and I'm paying him the same rate
Mhm.
as if he was working construction. He's doing an excellent job on things, and yeah. But all situations are not the same, and yeah, people will take advantage of you. But guess what? People will take advantage of you if you let them anywhere that you want to go, and our family here, we work together, we pull together. If things are tight with us for some reason, we let them know, hey, look, we're not going to be able to help you. You're going to have to get it on your own, and they
But
understand
usually they
that.
know though.
They know,
They
you
know.
know,
Yeah.
uh, it says, yeah, it's okay to help your family, but you have to have something for yourself.
Yeah.
And there is that relationship, and if you just always say yes, yes, yes all the time, of course, wouldn't you do the same thing? If you went to your boss and said, hey, I'd like a raise. Oh, sure. How much you want? And then 2 weeks later, you ask him again, well, how much you want this time? He's always going to, you're always going to keep going back. That's human nature. That's not Filipinos. That's human nature. So that's your relationship to manage. If you're a bad manager, that's not their fault.
Yeah.
And if they are trying to scam you, you should learn that early in the relationship and just get away from them. That's still your fault. So I don't like people pulling this stuff about Filipinos are all a bunch of scammers. The women, they're just after your money. They're after the house. I don't get mad very often, but that really pisses me off. We've been
Well,
married 20
I
years.
told you like ignore them people
Oh, I
because we
know. I'm
don't.
not. I'm not really
Well,
mad, but that sentiment is somewhat deep out there, and I resent that because I love Filipino people, and that's my family. So
and
yeah,
also we don't know where they're coming from too. Who knows if they had a bad experience? So
they did,
yeah,
but again, a lot of times it's their own judgment.
yeah,
So
it's
anyway,
okay. There's still a lot of good people out there. So
I think I've had maybe 4 or 5 out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments that I have answered. And usually, my usual response is, thanks for commenting. And I'll heart it and I'll like it.
they
And
still watch your
thanks
videos.
for watching. That's the proper response. That's the
Yeah.
Filipino response. Teach you to be patient. I just let my wife handle the family requests and I take it out of her shoe budget. She's so strict. Oh, you you ought to have her as a big sister. She's tougher than I am. I guarantee you that. I get mad at her. I said, I don't get mad at her, but it's like sometimes you're too strict,
I
but
don't know. I am. Yeah.
she is strict. She gets that from her father. Her father was a strict guy, but a fun loving guy too. I never did get to meet him, but that's the stories that I hear. But I like that comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the same. She pretty much they don't come ask me for money,
They don't.
and they never have. The other day, she was asleep in bed. I knew she wasn't feeling good. I said, "What do you need?" And he needed 200 pesos or 100 pesos for something. And I thought, it's $1 or $2. I think I'm okay doing that. That's the kind of request. That's the kind of requests we get. And of course, we help them out. We do. Uh, there we go, Kevin Workman. Wow, I have a newfound appreciation of OFWs. What a big sacrifice and dedication it takes to give up the first 6 months of your salary, support for the family. Absolutely going above and beyond. And yeah, I it really dawned on me here the other day, Kevin, that when she said she went, and I kind of did the timeline in my head. It was like her mother was already in Singapore, and then she went, and that left basically nobody at home. Her father was really not in great shape, and he wasn't working. There was no income in the house, and they're teenagers, so they basically went to save the family. That's what they did. So yeah, my wife is strict too, and she helps her family case by case. Yep, yeah. There's probably a year we didn't send any money back,
Yeah.
you know, and I know it's tough on them sometimes, but
Tough love.
we we had a lot of tough things going on too. I don't know if you want to hear all those stories, but just because we're positive and upbeat, that's just how we've chosen to be. And but we have bad things happen in our life, just like anybody else. I've had health issues, and we had a lot of issues with her mother, and she stayed with us for 7 months while she died of cancer right before our eyes. And,
Hmm.
and I was going through facing a surgery, serious surgery. I didn't know if I was going to come out of or not. Routine surgery, but anytime you go into the knife and it affects your circulation system, you know, I was pretty concerned. But, through the whole thing, it's just like, I never give myself, I never give myself the room to really complain and get negative about stuff like that because I believe that that creates more negative energy. I'm not going to speak out loud. Well, my life sucks, and this is not ever nothing ever goes my way because you know what? You better look around the corner because you're creating that negative energy and things are not going to go your way.
Mm,
Doesn't mean you're never going to have problems because you will, but it's how you choose to face them. And we're only on this life, in this life for a while. You might as well enjoy it as much as you can. Okay, Tati Sanders. My wife is strict too, and she helps her family case by case. Yeah, I read that. Okay, yeah, I think the we got my sister-in-law, her sister-in-law, her brother's wife. That woman, she's something else. She was when we built this house, she was the site superintendent. She was the buyer. She doled out the salary. She handled all the money. She kept all the receipts. She told people if they were going to work, if they weren't. She scheduled everything. And those men worked for her. Now, we had a foreman. He did, the building of the house. She didn't know how to do that. But as far as the monetary, she'd go into the big Home Depot type stores. She'd buy a few $1,000s worth of this. She'd buy $2,500 worth of this. This and that, rebar, concrete. She scheduled the trucks coming in, all this kind of stuff. She had 25 people working for her there for a while. And I have, you talk about women in the Philippines, sometimes, man, they're tough. And she works 6 days a week right now.
yeah.
She's, I told her daughter, May May, she's my niece. She's what, 20, 19?
21.
Yeah, she's going to college. And I told her, I said, she talks about her Tita Flora. That's her, And oh yeah, she really admires her, and that's good. I said, but I'm gonna tell you something. Yeah, go ahead and admire her, but you admire your mother too. She's a tough woman.
Hmm.
She sticks to her guns. She's honest. She's hardworking. If she'll finance things sometime because she's got credit. She'll finance it and she'll pay it off. She dreams a little bit bigger, and she's been a real benefit to this family. She really has. So yeah. Well, listen, we've been on here about an hour. I could stay on here for a lot longer, but I don't. I don't want to take up all your time, guys. I appreciate everybody that's been on here. We're up to 38 people. We got 40 likes. We've been on here an hour and 3 minutes. I hope we've answered your questions and gave you a little bit better insight on what the OFW is. Maybe you know what OFW stands for now, Overseas Filipino Worker, and the sacrifices that they go through. I'm going to do some videos on her mother and what she meant to me in my life and how she worked. I've got a billion stories on her mother. You talk about a tough woman, had
Yeah.
no education, no no education, no cultural upbringing whatsoever. She was just basically, I call her, she's been a slave her whole life, for a little bit of money. Maybe that's too strong of a term, but she's always worked for
But
other
she is,
people.
though. She was, anyway. Yeah.
But one thing she had,
Determination.
she had
That's
she
what
had
she had.
determination, she had guts. I'll tell you what,
Even she could only speak, very little English.
she was not
Oh
shy.
my, she's not shy at all.
You could drop her in any major city in the United States or Philippines. She don't even need to have a cell phone. She'll make it to where she's
She'll
going.
survive.
She'll survive.
Yeah.
Yep. And she's the reason
Yeah.
I'm sitting here. If she wouldn't have got a job in Singapore, trying to make a better life, I wouldn't have met her. We would never build a house here. We wouldn't be sitting here talking on the video right now without her.
Yeah.
So that's a ripple effect you have in people's life if you really stop and think about it. But I'm going to get off here, and I appreciate you
Well,
guys.
us, not
What?
only you. You said I'm gonna get off here.
Oh,
I'm
she's
just
going to stay
kidding.
for a while. She wants to stay for like another hour.
No, I'm just kidding. There you go. You say goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm
All
just
right.
kidding, guys.
All right. Well,
Thank you for
listen. Yeah.
watching.
Thank you so much for watching.
We
You
really
guys
appreciate you all.
have a good night.
Good night.